And I'm Del.
And we're hypnotherapists.
And today we're talking about life's purpose.
Well, yeah, because a friend of mine had sent over a graph of this Japanese method of figuring out what your life's purpose is. I guess, I was a little rude. I think I just said, hey, that's probably because the Japanese have such a high suicide rate with school-age kids, and they're so competitive
and in their workforce.
Because you're stuck, basically.
Right. I had a friend named Wayne who had worked and lived in Japan for quite a while, and he told me that in the corporate world over there, once you get hired on, you're there for life. There is no quitting, there is no going anywhere else. And if you don't get a boss you like, or a position, or any kind of growth, people jump off buildings.
Yeah, or if you quit, then they know they'll never get a job again. They'll jump off a building, or they go to that suicide forest, I guess. Which is also a big problem, I believe, in Korea too, because they're pretty much stuck. I mean, once you're identified in school at a certain level, you're kind of stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So, in any case, the
so how does this work?
It's basically 4 categories that have overlaps, and each time they overlap, like the first big categories are love, what the world needs, what you get paid for, what you're good at, and then when they overlap, you find like your passion, your mission, your vocation, your profession, and when those 4 categories overlap, it shows you what, if you had pursued something more along the lines of what you love, you may not get, the monetary gains or something, and that very core of those 4 circles at the very middle, the common ground is your ikigai. That is your life's purpose.
Okay, it just runs you through a bunch of, is it a questionnaire? Is it what?
Well, you know what I would do? It very much reminds me of your method of finding out what people's strengths are, what they should do. Yours kind of combined both.
All right.
But I imagine that it's very similar, where you create a list of the things that you love, you create the list of things that you do at work, you create a list of things that you're good at,
right. And
when you start seeing those overlap in common activities,
right.
you would find the next set of things.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Makes
so
sense.
when you see, like, if you were to make those lists and you saw the same word going through, like, I think I had done one where I had a lot of writing or something like that going through, or
mm-hmm.
coaching had gone through, then, Del was like, oh, you got to be a coach, blah, 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 blah. Go be a coach. Because it was that overlap core thing. And the other one was writing. But it's very similar that way. I think it's something that we've or has been practiced for a very long time, actually.
Right.
So why don't you define what purpose is, or?
Okay, that's actually a good thing to do. The purpose, a good a good definition for purpose would be a task or job for which something is created or exists. Now, the reason for defining that is that no 2 people will have the same definition for the same word or same understanding of the same word. So we're just kind of laying common ground there with that.
Which is common with a lot of language.
Right.
So you're basically saying that it's your life's task or your life's mission, kind of?
Yeah, well, what were you created for, or what do you exist to do?
Right. Okay. So, since I am more on the esoteric side, so it
right.
reminds me also of the soul mirror that you learn if you delve into, like, I'm sure they see mirrors. They're also in, or a version of it, or in like sacred texts that I've read.
Mm-hmm.
But the best one that I love is very similar to yours as well. The NLP or the hypnosis type of activity is the Soul Mirror by Franz Bardon. And Franz Bardon was a very, very famous and really revered occultist, because he had gotten to a place. He used Raja Yoga and Eastern philosophies along with all the Western occultism. So he ended up basically, I don't know how to explain it. He had instances or recollections from people during the Nazi era, where Hitler wanted him to work for him, but he had refused, and he was put in a camp, and he and his disciples were able to throw, like mentally, like telekinesis, like throw their officers across the room and things like that. It was just very strange.
Okay.
So in any case, his first step in his method was to create this soul mirror, which is actually creating a list of all the things that you're very good at, all your good traits and all your negative traits. And when you take those lists, you take the commonalities and move them around and shift them.
Okay.
You can look that up online.
Right.
But it's very akin to finding your strengths and your weaknesses, I think.
Okay.
Well,
my take is, first, that's pretty crazy if that guy Franz Martin could do that.
Oh, he's amazing.
And second, you know, that I think I've said this before, but when you're, you know, what would be the benefits of finding your life's purpose? Could you answer that for me?
Oh, well, I think that would be pretty simple. It would be where you would be able to work and find joy and passion and find the monetary gain. It should hit all the places of concern in your life.
Okay.
Your family would be happy. You would have enough money. You would have the passion for your job, and you would have, you know, the satisfaction of accomplishment, and you would want to create more and keep evolving.
Okay.
You know, I think that's life's purpose. I don't think other areas, when you focus on one thing only, does it necessarily fall into place like that.
Okay. Well, my thinking on the benefits of finding what your life purpose is, you know, I'll throw out three of them. One is that it actually will save you. Well, it will first focus you on the path you need to take. And it will shut down all the millions of overwhelming options that are out there constantly, which just people run like rats from one to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. I know this because I was one of them. I was one of those people that just had way too many options and opportunities, and it just, you know, you never get anything done. You never get anything accomplished. Second would be motivation. Once you know where you're going, you're motivated to actually start getting something done. Or at least that was my experience. And third would be, trying to think. Oh yeah, it actually will allow you, it will save you a ton of time. And it will allow you to prioritize, you know, opportunities coming in, what you should take, what you shouldn't take. Those would be three major benefits to me.
Sure,
Sorry.
yeah, I agree. I mean, it's basically going to focus you on the path that you know you want to head towards,
Right.
a goal,
Mm-hmm.
ultimate goal, you know. So what happens when that changes?
When what changes?
If your goal changes? I think that's
Then you
happened.
shift. People shift all the time. You know, they get to one point and they're like, well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be or where I want it to be. So now what?
Yeah, that's exactly my point. It's something I wanted to make because I know a lot of people that I've worked with where they make those improvements and they suddenly find themselves in the kind of the same place they were before,
Mm-hmm.
because everything shifted once they got to the higher paying job and all those things. They didn't know what they wanted again, because their priorities just changed and their wants changed and their life basically just flipped upside down and changed the way they had intended. So I find that being flexible is also an important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So in your opinion, how can one, if you were to give one, you know, give advice to someone that needed this, what what would you advise someone to do
If they
to be able to find their life's purpose?
Well, I mean, I already explained that's really what one of the things I would definitely do is create a list of finding what their strengths are and what their weaknesses are.
Okay.
And finding what their interests are and what they didn't like. And it just really is creating lists again.
Okay.
And finding that commonality and really figuring out, they really need to figure out if that's something they really want to do as well. Because there were things like you were suggesting coaching, and I was like, I don't really want to do that necessarily. Right. Not maybe not on a one-on-one thing.
Right.
But I do, love writing. Always love writing. That's just been there since I can remember. But I think that apart from that, it's just a matter of I can't really. I think I lost my train of thought there.
It happens, and it's tough when you're driving and
yeah, we're
distractions, but
it's the only time we have to get together.
Right.
So, do you have anything else to say? Hopefully I can remember.
I do. The thing that I would suggest to somebody is, first and foremost, think about all the times or instances where somebody said, wow, I wish I could do that as well as you can. Think about all the times, something that you absolutely love doing, because most of the time, if it's something you absolutely love doing, it's going to be very easy. It's going to be very easy for you, number one, to do it, and number two, to do it with passion, to be happy, to have fun.
Yeah, but it may not pay the bills, right?
It may not pay the bills up front, but it may not pay the bills up front. But the next step would be to kind of figure out, are you really, how qualified are you to teach this? How much would you need to learn? What resource would you need to put into it to be able to get that?
Get far.
Yeah, to get whatever.
You already defined having to take the steps.
Right.
I think that what ultimately somebody needs to consider is that we come into this matrix, this life here, and the way that it works is that when it's hard and you step up bravely to that difficulty, you'll notice that you are more well rewarded for stepping up and having courage than to shy away and run away. You suffer. You end up having feelings of suffering or sadness or regret or feeling like you missed an opportunity. So it's, if you really feel that you already know your life's purpose or you know what you love, then you absolutely should go and be brave and try it.
That's true. And if you don't know what your life's purpose is, just think about all the instances people have told you they wish they could do what you do. The second thing is, are you qualified to do it? Third thing is, think about who could benefit from your teaching and how could they benefit from it. And those would be the four things that I would put out there.
Yeah. I think that's about all the points we have. I'm glad I remembered my point.
Yeah, well, when you're driving and you're trying to, do 10 things at a time here, I'm
just staring at you driving.
Yeah.
So hopefully anyway, that helped everybody understand a little bit more and maybe get started on finding what that is. But that's all I have today.
That's all I have today. And if you like this video, please just thumbs up, subscribe, and
hopefully,
you know what? Leave in the comments below if you use any of these.
Oh yeah.
Or what you'd like to hear us talk about.
How you figured yours out. Maybe you used a different method.
Exactly. If you have any video suggestions for us, and they're nice and they're not being rude, then please.
No XXS.
Downstairs, yes. And
no R-rated stuff. We have a 5-year-old.
We'll talk to you. We'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye.